Hello again, friends. Sunday morning. We're here to make it a little bit better. Let's welcome in my co-host and friend, Mr. Joe Lethal Lever.
Oh, hello.
So I do know this. I just don't want to spoil it too much for people.
Well, yeah, no, I'm an absolute lover of the championship.
The man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Robbie D. How are we doing?
Yeah, you? No, moved on to the Aldi Rheinbacher Pilsner. There was, I think it was like 5 minutes late in the end, so minimum of 5 minutes additional time for this one.
Hello again, friends, and good morning. It's the Championship Show, and here we are. Nick Muller is already in the room. I am here. Good morning, Nick, and I am here with you, and I'm joined again by the man, the myth, the legend. I'll welcome him in very shortly. We were 1 minute late, so 1 minute additional time to be added on, and for once it wasn't down to Mr. Robbie D. It was down to me. I was eating me cornflakes and drinking me coffee and lost track of time. But there we go. And discussing 2006 bangers, Mr. D.
Correct, yes. Long list of them. 2006
Long list. Absolutely. So that was because you spent last night with a Chinese and Alexa, right?
Basically, yeah. Well, you just found out what Alexa is, so don't talk to me about these things. You're probably ordering one right now. Just like to say, in light of your delay, that other breakfast cereals are available.
They are, but they're not as good.
Definitely a debate for another podcast.
You can't.
Weetabix coming. Weetabix sending the boys around. I think.
Weetabix, have a day off. Cornflakes is where it's at. 30 grams. Measure it out. Got a waistline to watch, you know.
You can watch it, right? I
have. I've been watching it grow outwards over the last 5 years. Once I've stopped playing football. Any plans for the weekend to play any sport?
I haven't played any sport in a while, mate. I occasionally play football once a week now, but things aren't what they were. You've got to, keep yourself in shape manually now. Absolutely.
Daniel Barnard, fry up without the black pudding. That's not a fry up then.
No, that's just a Wetherspoon's breakfast, isn't
it? Yes. Other breakfasts are available at other establishments.
Yeah, correct.
But cornflakes with ice cold milk, says Nick Muller.
I think if you start having it with warm milk, you probably need to be going down the old quacks, mate.
You'd have Weetabix with warm milk, though, wouldn't you?
I wouldn't, no.
No? You can make it with warm milk, though, can't you?
You can make cornflakes with warm milk, to be honest. You can make coffee with warm milk as well. Yeah. Would you? What are you doing?
I'm stroking the dog.
Oh, right.
I will say
Nick Miller's portrait was right over on my screen where the dog is, literally right over.
I was stroking this beautiful.
It looked like you were stroking the back of Bluey.
Yes, well, Bluey is a marvellous animal. Cruncher says special K for him this morning. Nick Muller says beans on toast. Toby, I'm on the middle of a live show, son. Stop trying to kiss me. Nick Muller, beans on toast. So, a big weekend of the Championship came and went. Following the international break, we've got some games at midweek level as well, which will
not without the biggest game today.
No, the big ones today. They've saved the heavyweight clash of Preston versus Cardiff.
Yeah,
I think that silence there was the perfect bit of silence in the world.
Super Sunday, £14 extra to watch games of that nature, right?
How much would you seriously play? And the guys in the chat let us know to watch Preston versus Cardiff. Like if I
was in Preston for the day, which would have been quite a coincidence, I might have paid 10-15 quid to go, but I'm not gonna
to go just to go somewhere in Preston.
Well, no, if I was in Preston for the day, which is unlikely, then I might have taken a stroll to Deepdale for that. But halcyon days are now to go to a stadium long ago.
I'm not sure Preston is one of the most visited tourist destinations in the Northwest.
I don't think there is many tourist destinations in the Northwest.
Blackpool?
Tourist destination. I don't know about that. It's got a beach and a tower.
It's got a beautiful tower.
I don't know. I've only ever seen it in the grey rain of the Northwest.
You've only ever seen it post 5-0 hammerings courtesy of Ince and Holloway.
Yes, I've seen it after that particular one. And
Paul George's finest.
Saw it earlier this year. Of course, the one time I don't go, we actually turn up and do them 4-1.
That's what it's all about, my man. That's what it's all about.
But when you've got Luke Garber as your left back, you're always going to see goals, isn't it?
Well, on to this week's Championship football. We've got Predictor League coming up, and we've picked out 3 teams that we like, 2 teams that we don't. I'll let you kick us off with your 3 teams that are up. You've got Wednesday, Forrest, and Brentford. Tell me why.
Okay, so Sheffield Wednesday, obviously, coming back from the dead, let's say. I mean, they're obviously winning away at Birmingham. They were dominant.
Dominant?
They were dominant.
Can 1-0 be a dominant victory?
It can if you win 1-0. If you had a lot of the ball and you actually do get the goal, that can be a dominant.
But they didn't.
I think Sorry?
They didn't. Birmingham had
they had all the chances.
Possession.
They created all the chances. That's the way I'm talking about it.
Okay, fair enough.
Having watched the highlights and read up about it, they were the team looking to win the game from the get-go. Yeah. I think obviously Birmingham threw whatever they had left of it at the end, as you would expect anyone to do, especially at home. Yes, no problem for that.
Tell you what, Hawks is a postman. He delivers every time.
Yeah, I'm getting absolutely burnt by the sun here. Look. Hold on, let me turn around a bit. Can you still see me?
Yeah, well, we've got a graphic on the screen, mate, so we don't have to see you.
Oh, okay. Well, I was getting burnt by the sun. When you come back, I'm going to look like I've been grilled. Yeah, so anyway, Wednesday then. I think obviously they are on the way back. They're getting close now to catching the teams that are underperforming at the bottom of the league. So yeah, any win for them probably puts them on the up, especially a away win at a team that has started pretty well. You have to say that that's them proving their quality. I think they're a solid mid-table Championship side really, and I think they'll get back to there. I've got no doubt they're going to stay up. Sorry,
I had them to go down.
I can see why, but I think they've got more quality than 7 or 8 teams, and they're already getting close to them now. Some of those teams down the bottom there haven't even got a point. So, well, I'm talking only Wickham, really, but you know what I mean. There's a couple of teams on 2 and 3 points. Sheffield Wednesday are already only 7 points behind them. You expect them to catch up and overtake them during the course of the season. Still got 40 games, so
yeah.
I think if I had to gamble, I'd say they're going to finish 13th, 14th. Sheffield Wednesday, I really would.
Really?
They're only 10 points off it now.
Well, yeah, that's true. Hawks says Wednesday have made some unreal signings considering where they are in the league.
Yes, I was going to mention that. I actually didn't realise they had Jack Marriott there until this game. But that is,
have they?
Yeah, exactly. There you go. I don't know when that happened. I might have completely missed that, but he's there.
Good grief, I missed that.
I mean, they've already got Jordan Rhodes, so that's 2 fairly experienced Championship goal scorers, guys you'd expect to put the ball in the net in that league. They've already got the likes of Barry Bannon still there.
Yes.
Some of the better players from before, from their time of gambling to get up the Premier League.
Yep.
But
they've
got a lot of good players there. Not as many as they've ever had. There you go. They've got a decent Championship team there. If this 12-point thing hadn't happened, you'd be expecting them to be, I don't know, 6th, and maybe on a good day they sneak in the playoffs, but more 6th to 12th, I would have imagined I'd put them in.
Okay, all right. Forrest, obviously, and before we do go on, if you just look at the statistical analysis of the game, Birmingham had 60% possession. So when Wednesday's manager Gary Monk says, "I thought we dominated," I'm not quite sure how you can come to that.
I think, well, look, that's an easy thing to say. Like, you just said about the last game, Sheffield Wednesday, right? I don't think you can. You really, if you win the game and you've had 60% possession, yeah, maybe you've got a case for that. But if you've just had 60% possession, do you know what I mean? I mean, it's a different thing, isn't it? You don't dominate the game. It's 70, 80% you dominate the game for me.
Yeah.
That's Man City, you had control of the game for 99% of the time, let's say. When you lost the ball, you turned it over and won it back quickly. You didn't allow them the chance to get at you at any point. That's dominating. Doesn't happen very often.
No,
because the Championship's too easy.
Cruncher says Houghton will get Forrest in the playoff picture. Knockout, a great signing. Forrest then, post Lamucci. Chris Houghton's now in charge. Talk to me. Why have Forrest made the list, and do you agree with the Cruncher there?
Well, we always said that as soon as Houghton came in, it was going to be a 0-0.
Yeah.
I think Forrest were a better team in terms of chances and probably going to win it. I think Blackburn were a bit below their fairly high standards now. Having said that, it was drifting to a 0-0 until a massively deflected goal in injury time. So it was all on for a 0-0. I do think that Forrest were losing too many games, conceding too many goals in that way. Houghton, McCarthy, one of those guys was the right kind of guy to come in, weren't they?
Yes. A
Get back
fixer.
to basics. Yeah, a fixer. Make sure you don't concede goals all over the place. Nick wins when you can. And if you remember McCarthy's teams, he always had a sort of exciting player, a Tom Lawrence, a Ryan Fraser, a Bersant Selena, didn't he? One of those players every season
Yeah.
to sort of, win you those games which are in the balance at 0-0. And I think Knockout has got potential to be the same. I'm
Good
surprised
bloke.
to see that he's moved, if I'm honest. But anyone picking him out in the Championship would have been a great signing. Any one of the clubs, even the very top ones in the Championship, that's a great signing for anyone in that league. As we know, it would have made a difference to us back in the day, and that's 5-6 years ago.
Well, yeah, he would have done. Yeah, you're absolutely right. When we had the chance to possibly sign him, 1-0 away at Blackburn was never going to be easy, was it? Because Blackburn are many teams sort of favourites for a dark horse at a playoff run, and on Wednesday or Thursday rather, I do apologise. We were waxing lyrical about Blackburn, so I can see why Forrest has made your list.
Yeah, well, definitely. But I think I was, again, reading up on this game. I mean, it seems like Blackburn were missing a couple of their sort of more key players, and that did seem to make a difference. Well, clearly did, because they were second best, really. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was drifting towards a 0-0. And if you've seen the winning goal, it's one of those where the keeper dives to his right, it gets deflected and goes in the other corner while he's on the ground. Literally nothing you can do. You don't get them when luck's not going your way. That's the kind of goal Forrest were conceding 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Well, yeah, I mean, we were on the show a couple of weeks ago, me and Joe, and they had just played Bristol City, and Bristol City's goalkeeper had a out of this world performance. If he doesn't have an out of this world performance, they may get the win that day. Lomucci might still be in charge, and things may be totally different. That's football, isn't it? It's one of those, as you've said, when luck's against you, it hits your striker's backside and goes wide. When it's going for you, it hits his backside and goes in.
I was going to say, go on. Sorry, you go.
No, go on.
Sorry.
You finish.
I was going to say, Forrest had 16 shots. So you're saying that about the Bristol City game. Obviously, for me, that tells me that they haven't, short of a deflected goal, they weren't going to win either of those games. I mean, they've got Graben, they've got Amiobi, they've got Lyle Taylor, the guy from Charlton. You would have thought that they've got some goal scorers in there. They've got to start converting some chances, I think. 16 shots yesterday, sorry. And the only reason you got anything, a win, was because of the deflected goal. So I do think probably they need to find a way to get back to scoring goals if they're going to progress up the league. But, first things first, stop losing games. That's what we did under Mick, isn't it? We had DJ Campbell that scored a few goals. But in the end, the main reason we survived that first year is because he stopped us losing games.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I was going to say the exact same thing, because possession-wise, Blackburn bossed it, but shots, it was all Forrest. And it's one of those. What do you want? Possession or meaningful possession? And from those statistics alone, it shows me that yesterday Blackburn had possession, but it wasn't meaningful.
Yeah, and they're missing Dax, and they Blackburn, which
Again,
I don't know. He's one of the top players in the league, isn't he? So he would be a miss in any team.
Well, they had a really good sort of period with Bradley Dack last year, and the moment he left through injury, they tailed off. He kind of makes them play. And Tony Mowbray had this to say yesterday, just because you've mentioned how there were a few players missing. It looked like a team that hadn't played together, and it hasn't played together. We had one day with that team on the grass. Because of the current climate, the team changed from the one we prepared during the week. It looked like 0-0 all over it. We were never under any real serious threat, but there you go. You can lose tight games from a set play or deflected shot. The first half was as poor as we've been this year, but as I said, it was a team thrown together. And it really was, wasn't it, really?
Yeah, I think for me, that's him saying that, if that had come from... He's almost saying that he's short, really. I don't think he's saying that, but if you heard that from, I don't know, Sean Dyche, for example, you'd think that that's him saying, we're short, we need a bit of help in the transfer window here. Obviously, it's that time, it doesn't really work. Yeah, but you know what I mean? He's not saying that, but you could take it that way if it was in the middle of August and no one had come in. So it's the timing sort of confirms he's not saying it that way. But evidently they are a little bit, because, they were second best, really.
Absolutely. And next on your list is a team called Brentford, and the Championship should be worried because Mr. Ivan Toney, he settled in.
He has indeed. Was anyone really expecting him not to? I mean, anyone that goes to Brentford seem to score goals. They don't have players that don't score goals, do they?
No.
Not up front anyway. They always seem to. I mean, I saw the game, saw the highlights, I should say, and it's just too absolutely run-of-the-mill Ivan Toney goals, really, against, you have to say, probably one of the teams he scored against last season, in
Yeah.
Coventry. So there was nothing particularly surprising about it at all.
I hadn't.
Um,
No, no, absolutely not. I hadn't seen a more complete player at that level than Ivan Toney for a long time.
yeah, it's weird because he's actually, like, you think, yeah, just an outstanding season last season, but he scored a reasonable amount of goals for a couple of years there. But only last season did he become that sort of complete player, as you said, really.
Mm.
An unstoppable player, and it was a question of, he was always going, wasn't it? It was a question of whether Peterborough went up. If he went up, then probably they hang on to him. But
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of Brentford, obviously, I mean, they had that front three last season, didn't they? Canos,
Yes.
Ben Rama, and Watkins. Watkins, as we all know, went to Villa.
Yep.
Ben Rama now gone to West Ham for a season-long loan. I don't really know the benefit for Brentford is there.
Well,
I don't know the ins and outs of the finances of that, but doesn't seem to be a lot of benefit. Brentford have just, between those two players, lost a lot of goals, a lot of assists. I know Tony's come in, so you've gone from 3 to 2 to 1 and then back to 2 of 3, but you're still short. And it's going to surely hurt them.
yeah. Without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt. And obviously, we've got to say that Coventry have revealed that striker Tyler Walker wasn't in the squad because he's tested positive for COVID-19. So we wish him all the best.
I didn't hear that.
And he'll now isolate for 10 days. But Ivan Toney isolated himself from the Coventry defence because he was everywhere. And he kept off a fantastic performance with 2 goals. And the Brentford manager, or head coach rather, Thomas Frank, said that Ivan Toney is about much more than goals. His link-up play and persistence are excellent, and he will improve massively throughout the season. And I think he is, isn't he? He is about the whole package.
Yeah, I think he's not just one of those guys that just scored the goals. He links him with the play and everything. Wins you the free kicks and stuff, and he does runs the channels, all those things you want from your striker. Really, in the current market, he's worth every penny of that money, I think.
Yeah, big time.
I mean, he's the complete sort of. There wasn't a better striker in League One, was there? He's proved already they can easily play in the Championship. So, if you were saying you're a Championship team and you've got a guy who's pretty much guaranteed to score goals and you're only paying 10 million, I think most people would say that's a good deal these days.
Absolutely. And you're 2 down while we're on it. Coventry are one of them. Why Coventry? Why are they on the down list?
I just think that I don't know, I don't want to say they're out of their depth, but I do think they're exactly one of those teams that Sheffield Wednesday will bypass. I just think they're going to struggle. They obviously got on top of League One, and they had one of those sort of momentums, didn't they? They didn't seem to concede any goals, didn't seem to lose any games. I think they only lost 3 games or something in the whole of what was last season.
Yeah, I believe
4 games anyway. It was just momentum, wasn't it? And they seem to have hit the buffers a bit. And they're not. I don't think they're playing badly, or they're well out of every game. They're not getting brushed aside, but they're not getting many points on the board, are they? I think they're really going to struggle. Not to the extent of Wickham, but yeah, I mean, I do fear for them, if I'm honest. They just don't look strong enough. They don't look strong enough. They're in that bottom 5 or 6, of which there's some weak teams in that league this season. And yeah, I just don't think they're strong enough to stay up, personally. They might pull it off, but they'll be doing well if they do.
I feel they're a team that's not yet gelled. They've brought a couple of players in, and I say couple, they've brought in quite a few, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel they're a team that's just waiting to gel, waiting to click. And once they do, I think they're going to be okay. And I happen to agree with what Mark Robbins said to the BBC yesterday. It was, we were unlucky because the first goal was offside. They got the rub of the green, but the second was really poor, and that took the game away from us. We are capable of causing teams problems. But at this level, it's the belief we need to get to. The level we've come into is a huge step up, and I just want us to show our real face. The last third of the game was more us. And I happen to agree with him there in terms of showing their real face. I feel Coventry, when they've settled, when they've got the pattern and the grip of the Championship flow, I think they're going to be okay. I'm not saying top 6 or even top 10. I'm saying okay. I think they'll be okay.
Do you not think that they've got? I mean, when they're in League One, they got together. They did what we're probably going to end up doing. They went right to the bottom of things and had to come back with a successful team on frees, loans, and youth players. Right?
Yeah.
Probably the same path we're unfortunately heading down. But the thing about it is that they sold a couple of the youth players that come up. I think one went to Norwich.
Yep.
Obviously, they used the loan market and the free market. But the thing is, they probably really only had League One players that were, at their level in League One. As you said, they brought players in for the Championship, but I'm not sure that they were ever strong enough as it was. They had to strengthen, and then it's one of those things. If your recruitment's right and if your signings are right, but I'm sure they haven't spent lots, if any, money.
No, they haven't. No.
It's that classic thing. If we went up, we might be in a very similar situation to Coventry. If we went up, we would have gone up without sort of many outstanding assets. Maybe just the likes of Downs in our case, Wolfenden. Maybe we sell one or two of them, and then you're sort of just trying to scrabble around for the frees and the loans again at just a league up. I just don't know if they've got the money or the strength to survive. If I'm honest, I would like to see them survive because they're a team you'd like to see come back.
Okay.
But I fear for them.
And up next is a team that was very much on the verge of a good point, and then wasn't. Rotherham United. Yeah,
I think they, by their own admission, or by Warren's own admission, they put everything into that game. Obviously, they were 2 divisions apart last season, so it's going to be tough for them. But they were ahead. Should have gone 2 ahead with their own penalty.
Yep.
Scored an own goal to let Norwich back in. Then there was a needless red card from a pretty bad tackle for Rotherham.
Yep.
Sort of 2-footed tackle. And then, they then gave away a sloppy penalty in injury time, 95th minute as well. It's a classic Norwich, isn't it?
Was it a penalty?
I thought so. I have to say, I'm not sure Rotherham's looked a bit soft, but I thought the one for Norwich, the guy was wiped out. As usual, he made the most of it. I would expect that from a Norwich player. But I thought in the end, Rotherham gave absolutely everything, went down to 10 men. Everything went against them. They missed a penalty. They gave away a penalty. They had a red card, and they scored an own goal. I mean, I feel a bit for them because they'll feel a bit demoralised when you've given as much as they clearly gave, and in the end got a sucker punch with the last kick of the game at home.
Yes.
If you would expect Norwich to win away at Rotherham overall. There's no news there, is there? But the way it went, I think they'll be.
Well, no, the news was they weren't going to win at one point. When I was looking at the final results before we went live on the matchday ticket, I was thinking, crumbs. I might have to mention Norwich again this week after mentioning them last time because
I think
were on the verge.
I would have loved it if obviously they've got people in, haven't they, at Norwich to watch the game. Yeah, they got the big screen. Don't know how they've managed to do that. I mean, fair play to them for actually making that work in all this climate. I don't know how they've done that, but somehow they have.
No, me neither.
I reckon probably it must be some kind of. Obviously, it's not a live sporting event, isn't it? Maybe it's the same rules as a theatre or something. I don't know.
Who knows?
If you have one big screen on the pitch and one stand, I suppose you could use. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, if you looked at where they were with a draw, they'd have been on 5 points. All of a sudden, they're like 8 points behind the top 2. We've only played 5 games.
Yeah,
that's quite a long way. It was crucial for them to win, I think.
Oh, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. And on Rotherham, they need to get out of their own way. They are causing themselves to lose games. They're beating themselves.
They're a physical team. Do you remember in League One they did us twice with physicality, didn't they? But the problem is that I think when you're physical, you're occasionally gonna have a red card or you're gonna give away a penalty and things like that. And if you're over physical, teams with the sort of the kind of players that will make a meal of everything they can. Unfortunately, I do think Norwich are one of them. Not alone in that, but I do think they're one of them. You'll always get decisions against you because players will go knowing that any touch they can go down the box and so on and so forth. So you'll always end up with red cards and penalties against you if you try playing physical.
Yeah, I just feel like they're beating themselves more than getting beaten by the opposition sometimes, Rotherham, or slipping up through their own doing. But they are where they are, and they're probably going to be inside the bottom 4, right?
I would say, but I think you'll see them fairly close to Coventry in the bottom 5 or 6. Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Again, another one that I think Sheffield Wednesday can get past.
Fair enough. Right, 3 up from me. I made an audible because I had Bristol City, Stoke and Millwall. And then I realised Barnsley had done the unthinkable and equalised inside injury time. So I made the audible. I swapped out Bristol City for Barnsley. Barnsley scoring in the 90th minute plus 12, Robbie. So we'll kick things off with Barnsley. Battle. Who needs a manager, Mr. Davies? That's what I'm going to ask you because Barnsley, with caretaker manager, did well. They didn't want to be denied. So Bristol City were flying, and many, if not all of us on Thursday's show, probably tipped them to beat Barnsley. And while we're on that subject, I have been a
Yep.
little bit critical of Barnsley this season. So I have to say, do you know what? Well done.
I
I'll
think
clap you.
I don't know. I don't think Barnsley are as poor as people think. They seem to have a bit of fight in them. I'm quite surprised the manager's not there, if I'm honest.
Gutsy, isn't
Um,
they? Gutsy.
yeah, gutsy. I mean, they scored in the second minute and the 90th plus 12. I don't know. I'm surprised to see the manager's not there. I don't think they're doing that badly. He performed miracles to keep them up in when was it? When did the season end?
Back in the
July.
last, yeah. Oh, he did, yeah. Gerard
Literally
Stuber.
four months ago, and here we are. I don't know.
Yeah.
You'd expect them to be struggling, wouldn't you? Again, you'll see them near Rotherham, near Coventry.
Yeah. This is the type of display, though, that beating relegation is built on, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely right. Where you're against the top team in the league, the form team in the league.
Yep.
You've been ahead, and then had the sucker punch of going behind, having taken the lead and probably been in control for the whole first half,
Yeah.
and then 90 plus 12. I mean, I even knows how it got to that point. But
Well, exactly. But, that you say that sucker punch, it was 6 second half minutes where they went from leading to being behind, and many teams who have been as battled as Barnsley have been since probably March of last year would have folded like a house of cards, but they didn't. And especially with no manager, it would have been so easy, and nobody really would have said anything
yeah,
had they lost that game yesterday 2-1.
well, to be honest, if they'd gone on and lost 3-1, probably the same. No one would have
Yeah.
really blinked an eye, would they? Most people, I think, in the chat, as you said Thursday, plenty of people were saying 1-3 Bristol City. I think there was even 4-0s and stuff. I don't know. I just think Barnes is a tough place to go. And Bristol City, as we said, are one of those teams you feel like could implode in any fixture. You don't expect to see them top of the league the whole season. There's quite easily a chance they could go 4 or 5 games without a win. I put them in the same bracket as Preston.
Yeah.
They're always in and around the top 10, aren't they? But the season ends when they're on a bad run every year. I mean, neither of them get in the playoffs.
Yeah. And if I asked you this question, okay? If I asked you to tell me what the stats were yesterday, right, without looking, without cheating, with possession, what would you have said? Who would have won possession, Barnsley or Bristol City?
I'm going to say Bristol City, but I reckon it'll be tight. Maybe
It was, but
55,
Barnsley
45, something like that. Oh, okay.
Barnsley won it with 51%. How about shots? Who do you think would have had more shots on goal?
Well, needless to say, I would have said Bristol City, but the fact that you're asking me makes me think that I'm going to go Barnsley.
With 17 attempts.
There you go.
Madness.
Doesn't sound like a team that's massively demoralised, short of a manager.
It really doesn't.
It seems really if anything, it seems like they've got a bit of confidence from staying up last season. I know they haven't started very well, but it seems to be to me that they've sort of got a bit of belief in themselves. Maybe it hasn't quite worked so far this season. That's only their second point. They haven't won a game. But that doesn't strike me as a team that's struggling for confidence, struggling for, struggling for togetherness.
No, as a football fan, that I would say they need a killer instinct.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Because they're creating, they're just not converting. And up next is Stoke, Millwall, and QPR. 2 of the teams on this list today. So they don't come easy in this league, as we know. But that's a great win. And just looking at Jay Crick's message here before we jump to Stoke and Millwall, Rotherham were very good yesterday. I wouldn't be too quickly to judge Norwich. When it clicks, we will be fine. We created a lot yesterday and will continue to do so. And we said on Wednesday or Thursday, didn't we, Rob, that could this be the turning point for Norwich, the international break? Because last time on the Fark it was. A win like that will really sort of help. And Jay Crick sort of suggests that himself, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think so, mate. You could well be right. I think they were probably even further behind on the last time. I just think that everyone, me included, probably them included, all thought they were going to score a lot of goals. They did it last time, and really, in terms of what players they've got and whatnot, they've got Hugel in there who will always score. He's a championship goal scorer. I don't rate him personally, but he will score you a few goals. I don't think you could argue with that. So I thought they'd score a few goals, and their problem would be the problem is at the other end, which has been their problem. Even when they went up, but they still conceded a lot of goals. Even when they went up the previous time, they conceded a lot of goals. So
I agree.
I thought they'd be doing the sort of the 3-2s and the 4-3s and stuff. I just don't know. It doesn't seem to be to me that they're scoring a lot of goals at the moment. As he said, they're creating a lot, which you'd expect them to do because they've got a lot of creative players. Most teams in that league would love to have the creative talent they've got. So I'd expect them to create a lot. I just don't know if they're going to score the level of goals they have done in the last championship year.
No, I think that's fair, to be honest with you. And I'm watching their results with interest because It could go either way for me this year.
I do think it's another one of those where if it's not going so well, they're not a club that fires managers and stuff.
No fans helps, doesn't it?
No fans helps that. So if it gets to November and perhaps they're still 10th or something, 12th, I don't know, whatever. Their crowd might be getting a bit restless. In the same, they're not alone. Plenty of clubs would be. Obviously, that's not going to happen. They're not a club that would crumble and sack a manager at the drop of a hat anyway.
No.
They've shown plenty of faith in Farke when it was going not so well 2 years ago. Probably 3 years ago, whatever it was, last time before they got promoted. They've shown faith in them going down. I don't see them making any knee-jerk decisions and sacking them. But it does probably help having no crowd in there, because in every crowd there's always people that want the manager gone. As soon as you're not performing, they don't give them any chance to turn it around. So I think I don't see him under a lot of pressure, but you still expect them to be in the top bunch, and so will they, and so will he.
Yeah. Right, on to Stoke and Millwall. I'll try and race through these because I know time's getting on. So, Stoke, Michael O'Neill, take a bow, son. I was a little critical midweek and scoffed when you suggested Stoke may take 3 points here, Rob. But, well, they did, and in comfortable fashion. Luton looked to be cooling off a little after a red-hot start, but let's not take anything away from the Potters, who now sit in 8th. A clean sheet, 2 goals, 3 points, away from home, is always and always will be a job done. And when you do it having nearly half as many attempts on goal, both at and on target, you'll be smiling. You'll be big smiling. So Luton appear to be missing that killer instinct that we were talking about in returns to Barnsley. But hey,
it's a classic away display, isn't it?
Oh, it is. Even with or
not
without
a smash and grab, but you get a goal, hold on to it, get a second goal. The goals are quite close together, actually. But you make sure you don't go behind, stay in the game, nick a goal when you can. If the chance for a second one comes up, you get it then as well.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Once Stoke are 2-0 ahead, you back them to see it through, wouldn't you?
They're cruising.
So, yeah. I think I said before, I think Stoke are a pretty solid team at this level. I don't see them being a team where there's a lot of goals, a lot of drama. I think they're one of those teams that will probably maybe lose or win 2-0 every week, kind of thing. They're either on it or they're not. I just think that they're in the top sort of 10 for me. Luton obviously have overachieved to do as well as they have. It off the back of last season, they probably will be considering themselves not fortunate to stay up because they earned it, but they did very well to still win the league from where they were probably in March or when we came back from COVID. So yeah. Okay. You can't have any complaints with Luton where they are. They've come a long way. But this is why I said I just thought Stoke would be too strong for them. And Absolutely. I think as the season materialises, you'll see Stoke in the top 10 and Luton probably in the bottom 10, but still safe.
Yeah, well, I go along with that. So Millwall, lucky, or should that be plucky? Millwall battled back from a goal down. We won't talk about Bart today to secure 3 hard-fought points. Wickham are going to be that cartoon banana peel, aren't they? Right, where every team goes there and everyone expects them to win, but somebody at some point will not win. And yesterday it was nearly Millwall. They gifted a goal to Wickham.
Millwall need a keeper, don't they?
But they battled back and got themselves all 3 points with 2 second-half goals from Wallace, again, proving me wrong, and Leonard. Millwall manager Gary Rowett will probably look back at this game, Rob, and think, how was it as close as it looked on paper? Because they bossed possession, 60%, 18 shots, 6 on target. They bossed it. They gave the goal, and they still won the game. But Wickham weren't as bad as people will say they are, me included. A big 3 points. They avoided a trip, and they are up to 7th place. Seventh place.
It's one of those, isn't it? Where Wickham, like you said, if they had the crowd, like we said the other day, if they had the crowd in, this is a Millwall at home, or I don't know, a Coventry at home. One of those, games is where they'd expect to be trying to turn somebody over and get their season going. Yeah. Somebody will go there and lose. I wouldn't be surprised if it's someone like Bristol City or Reading. One of those teams is at the top at the moment. Yeah. But someone will go there, go behind early, I think, and then Wickham will put everyone behind the ball and somehow see it through. Might be quite a while from now. They don't
Yeah,
look like
I
they can.
agree.
They don't look like they can pick up a goal, let alone a point. Do they really?
No.
Generally, I know they did, but they don't look like they can often score goals.
Well, I've got Wickham coming up on my 2 downs, so I'll mention more Wickham in a second. But I just want to mention very quickly, because obviously, for interest of fairness, Bartosz Białkowski, manager Gary Rowett had this to say, and I've missed hearing this because this used to be said about our club. I would say that last season, Bart probably won 5 or 6 games single-handedly. He has plenty of credit in the bank, but I don't want him doing that too much. How many times over the last 4 years has that been said about Ipswich? Bartos has won this game single-handedly. We'll let him off this one.
Yeah, I don't know. It was said a fair few times, wasn't it? But in the end, it was a lot more mistakes in our club from our defence and whatnot than there is at Millwall. You won't see Millwall getting relegated where we did. So,
No. Oh, yeah. No, of course not. Millwall are a better team than us. And
better club these days, I'm afraid.
Oh, it's depressing to say, but it is. Right, 2 down, Swansea and Wickham. So, let's have Wickham first, shall we? Because Wickham are crying about decisions. Wickham are crying about decisions. Wickham.
Yes, I remember the one last season, although despite what Twitter might say, that's not the reason we didn't get promoted.
Well, you say points per game. That's 3 more points in the
Points
bank.
per game. We didn't win for about 3 months. Admittedly, that was in that time, but
that was. I know a few Wickham podcasters, and they were trying to find out the details for the official to get him on the podcast. And I just very unassumingly asked, "Did you guys have Mr. Farmer on the podcast after the decision at Portman Road?" And they said, "Oh no, of course you didn't. Of course you didn't know, because it went for you that day, didn't it? Whereas this time it didn't go for you. That's football."
Soft penalty, I think they're saying, right? For Millwall.
Well, yeah, but as old Frank Sinatra said, that's life. That's what the people say.
Wickham are definitely doing it their way at the moment, aren't they, I'm afraid?
Well, you could say that. Anyway, I think, they're the worst team the Championship scene. Is that fair to say?
That's a bit harsh after 5 games. I think you have to say the writing's on the wall. Having said that, I mean, I'd be interested to see what the comparison between them and someone like Barnsley or Luton is at this point last season.
Well, exactly. You say 5 games. They've not won. They've lost all 5. They've scored 1 goal, Rob. 1.
There's only 1 goal. I didn't realise that.
Yesterday was their first goal.
Oh, man, I actually didn't know that.
And they've conceded 12.
Yeah, writing's on the wall.
Someone chuck him some armbands, for crying out loud. Right, Swansea getting beaten by Huddersfield. Not a great result, not a great look. Swansea head coach Steve Cooper says the performance was not good enough, and they conceded 2 really poor goals. I can't decide if it's a good win for Huddersfield or a bad defeat for Swansea. I've gone for the bad defeat.
I don't know. I think Huddersfield they battled for that. It was a classic, another one of those sort of a classic kind of away displays. Probably you were not fancied, but you sort of nicked something, held on to it, and then basically took the opportunities. They stood the second goal. Huddersfield, they really stood off the guy and allowed him to come. You feigned to shoot, they stood off him again, and then he sort of strolled into a space where you expect him to score from. So Swansea are their own worst enemies, but Huddersfield took whatever they could, and after the time they've had in the last year or so, they're not going to complain one bit, are they?
Absolutely not. And Huddersfield need this result. They need this sort of platform to build on, to spring from, and who knows where they're going to end up this season. But Swansea, with their top 6 aspirations, are going to be ruin this 3 points, I reckon.
Yeah, I think so. I think for Swansea, it's one of those what could have been. It's one of those games where it just didn't go from there. They had all kinds of efforts. I think they're blocks on the line and things you'd expect them to be hitting the target with didn't. And one of those days probably. I don't particularly worry about them. I think they'll be fine. But
yeah, right.
That's a poor home defeat at the same point.
Oh, without a doubt. So, Predictor League, I did it this week. So, if there's any problems, please email your complaints to noonecares@gmail.com. So, Cruncher is winning so far with 14 points. Ben on 12. I got 2. Nick got 2. You got 6. Ricky got 8. And Dan got 12. I've still got S in there. Look, and S didn't take part this week, I don't think. At least I don't remember seeing anything from S. So, Crunch is winning, but obviously Ben could take it. Well, Dan and Ben, if they got 2 or more points today from the big heavyweight clash, Rob, of Preston Cardiff, could take the crown from Cruncher. Otherwise, Cruncher's won again.
Well, he thinks he knows what he's talking about, and at the moment, you can't argue with him.
No, you can't. You got 6 points. How do you feel about that one?
Yeah, that's not bad considering. I'll take that. To be fair, I'm not. I would never show you that I know what I'm talking about. So mid-table finish.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Yeah, Ricky with the debut week got 8. I got 2. I was disappointed with that. I've got to be honest. When I was doing the points total, I've got to be honest. I did check it 3 or 4 times. I was like, this can't be right. How can this be right? 2 points. I'm the host. I'll tell you what I got the 2 points from. Millwall. I had Millwall to win 4-0. Now, I didn't win 4-0, but they won. So I got 2 points for the right team to win. But had Wickham done their business, I'd have been down the bottom with 0.
Not done their business. Oh, you mean if they're beating them? Okay, yeah, that's what you mean.
Yeah. I've got.
I wouldn't worry about that for now.
No, I've got a 1-0 Preston win. So if I get 4 points, I could come and join you on 6 and leave Nick, down at the bottom at 2. Cruncher has got. I'll tell you what Cruncher's got for today. He's got a 1-1.
I think I've got 1-0 Cardiff. I think
you've got. You got 1-0 Cardiff. Ben Moore's got 2-2. Daniel Barnard's got 2-2, and Nick Muller's got 3-3. So other than me and you, they've all gone for draws.
Yeah, I think they might be right, to be honest. Has got drawing all over it.
Oh, yeah. He's got Sunday roast feet up, sleep all over it, I think. Don't you?
Get your £14 ready.
Yeah, there we go. So we're done. We're dusted. We'll be back midweek. I'm looking forward to it. But thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining Mr. Robbie D there, our Davies 90. What are your plans for the rest of the day, Mr. Davies?
I'm going to go and see some friends this afternoon. Actually, then some other friends and have a bit of a roast dinner.
Very nice.
Lovely job. And then probably have a bit of a food coma after that.
That sounds rather wonderful. We'll enjoy. And we will speak to you all very soon. Take care, my friends. All the best.